Hello, this is JC De Guzman, and I am now going to discuss my technical analysis, overall sentiment, and recommendations for the top 5 gainers and top 5 losers for May 7, 2019. I will begin with Globe. Globe closed on Tuesday at 1,990 pesos per share. It is now at the brink of breaking above its resistance at 2,000 pesos per share. Support is at 1,764. Yesterday's ascent in price went above its VWAP of 1,952, and we also got a bullish volume that is way more than higher than its 10-day volume average. As you can see here, foreign investors accumulated or bought about 232 million pesos worth of shares in one day, and I think that was their highest or biggest net foreign buying since, let me double check when was the highest. So that was their highest net foreign buying amount in one day since August 9 2019. Okay, so but for 2019 year to date, I think because of that long net foreign buying bar, I think they are now bullish. Yeah, I think they are now bullish for 2019 year to date, or more or less. If they are still net foreign sellers, I think if Globe will get maybe 3 to 5 more days of net foreign buying amounting to more than 100 million pesos per share every single day for those 5 days, I think it will become a net foreign buying uh, 20, for 2019 year to date for Globe. Okay, it's also now moving above its 200-day simple moving average. Although Globe's three SMAs are still in a perfect bearish alignment, nonetheless, it was still able to recover its position above all of those three SMAs. Of course, we can only see a reverse. We can only see this perfect bearish alignment reversed if and when Globe touches the resistance level above 2,300 pesos per share. Okay, it still has a lot of work to do, but nonetheless, it managed to break above all of its three SMAs. So it's on its way. Hopefully, if this bullish sentiment for Globe will continue. MACD is also bullish, and for the strength, I'm also seeing a confirmation of the strong upward momentum as can be seen on the directional movement index here. The positive DMI is above the negative DMI, and we also have an ADX of 27 points. So that's a confirmation of the strength of a strong upward momentum for Globe. Let's take a look at Globe's trade and volume distribution chart. So the most traded and most voluminous range is somewhere near this level. It's between 1,979 all the way to 1991. 1979 to 1991. Okay, so that's closer to the intraday high than the intraday low. And where did it close yesterday? 1,990. Okay. Now, should Globe's price decline, should it go downward today, then you should monitor this range between 1918 all the way to 1925. But but for now, the most traded and most voluminous range is closer to the intraday high than the intraday low. Actually, we can adjust that range from 1960 all the way to 1991. 1960 to 1991. Okay, still that's closer to the intraday high than the intraday low. So that's another confirmation of the bullishness of Globe. All four criteria are present. Our 10 SMA MACD combo is satisfied. So if you have Globe, you have two options. Either you hold your position or you add more shares. When you decide to add more shares, do not buy at any price. Make sure that you buy within the most traded and most voluminous range, those ones that you heard from me a while back. If you don't have Globe and you would like to take advantage its ascent, its bullishness, you can also do a test buy, but within that range that I mentioned. Okay, now let's take a look at the next stock in the list. We have ICT. ICT closed on Tuesday at 136.4. Resistance is at 136.74. Support is at 120 pesos per share. It closed above its 10 SMA and above its VWAP of 134.10. It also got support from a bullish volume that is a little bit, a few points shy from its 10-day volume average. Foreign investors also gave support to ICT by buying 122 million pesos worth of shares. MACD continues its bullish ascent above the signal line, and although the positive DMI is hovering the negative DMI, the uptrend is not that strong. It's an uptrend pattern, but momentum wise it's not that strong. Okay, on ICT. So if you have ICT, you may want to lock in some profits near 136.7 or 136.74 to be precise. You may want to lock in some profits. Okay, for the new entrants, take a look at this psychological resistance here. Let me show that to you. Okay, psychological resistance is at 147.6, which is in confluence with the 61.8% of the up Fibonacci extension. So you calculate, okay, you calculate your reward to risk ratio. If you're happy with your reward to risk ratio, then you can do a test buy. But for now, my personal sentiment on ICT or my personal advice on ICT for those who don't have ICT yet but are planning to enter a new position, I suggest that you either wait for a breakout above 136.74 or wait for a pullback near 120 pesos per share. Okay? All right. Let's take a look at the uh, trade and volume distribution chart for ICT. Okay. The most traded and most voluminous range is, let's see, between 130. Let me zoom in. Let me zoom in this chart so you can see the price points properly. It's between 130 here all the way to 134. Let me zoom out a little bit. 130 to 134. So this is the most traded and most voluminous range for ICT. Well, apparently it's closer to the intraday low than the intraday high. Okay? It's closer to the intraday low than the intraday high. So what does it tell us then? Maybe our directional movement index is already detecting a possible continuity for the descent in price of ICT. Okay, actually, that's also one of the things that triggered me to advise the new and those who don't have ICT but are planning to enter a new position on this stock, not to either wait for a pullback or for a breakout above 136.74. So this is one of those things that influenced that advice that I gave a while back. So again, for those who have ICT, you may want to lock in some profits near the resistance. Okay, now let's take a look at the next stock in the list. We have CHP. CHP closed on Tuesday at 2.47. Support is at 2.21. Resistance is at 2.88. It closed above its VWAP of 2.42. And it also got a bullish volume above its 10-day volume average. Foreign investors bought about 13.5 million pesos worth of shares. MACD continues its bullish ascent above the signal line. We also get support, a bullish support coming from the directional movement index chart. It's a confirmation of the strong bullish ascent of CHP. Yes, it's in an uptrend, and there's also a strong upward momentum. YJZ, is it possible to see an upward channel or upward trend, but there's a weak upward momentum? Yes, that's possible. But I'm seeing an upward trend and a strong upward momentum on CHP based on the histogram of the Directional Movement Index, or DMI. So let's take a look at the trade and volume distribution chart of CHP. CHP's most traded and most voluminous range is between 2.37 or 2.38 all the way to 2.47. That's closer to its intraday high than the intraday low. So I am bullish on CHP, in my recommendation for those who have CHP, especially those who bought it near to 1.8. It's either you hold your position or you top up, mean to say add more shares uh, within the range that got the most traded and most voluminous uh, range. Okay, so two options for those who have CHP. Either you hold your position or you top up. If you don't have CHP, it's okay. It's logical to do a test buy within the range that I mentioned a while back. Okay, now let's take a look at FNI, ferronickel. FNI closed on Tuesday at 1.6. Support is at 1.45. Resistance is near 1.67. It's a lot closer to its resistance than to its support level now. So guys, especially those who don't have FNI but are planning to enter a new position, calculate your reward to risk ratio. If you're happy, then move on to the next level of the decision making. But nonetheless, let me continue what I was saying. FNI closed above its VWAP of 1.58. It also got a bullish support by getting a volume that's more than 100%, maybe 150 to 200% above its 10-day volume average. Foreign investors, on the other hand, bought about 1.27 million pesos worth of shares. Still an insignificant amount of participation coming from the foreign investors when you compare their transactions on the index stocks. Nonetheless, FNI gets a bullish support coming from MACD as MACD continues its bullish ascent above the signal line. I'm also seeing that obviously it's an upward trend, but the upward momentum is not that strong yet. If FNI will continue to draw closer near 1.67 with a bullish volume, I think we will see the DMI showing, or the ADX showing us a strong upward momentum for FNI. So it's still not out of the woods. Okay, let's take a look at the trade and volume distribution chart for FNI. So the most traded and most voluminous range is between 1.57 to 1.62. Still, that's closer to the intraday high than the intraday low. Therefore, I am bullish on FNI in the short term. And if you have FNI, consider locking in some profits near 1.67. If you don't have FNI, like what I mentioned a while back, calculate your reward to risk ratio. If you're happy, then you do a test buy within the most traded and most voluminous range. For all of these stocks, if you need my latest trade and volume distribution chart or analysis, please post a request inside our private clients forum. If you are a new subscriber and you don't know how to do that yet, it means you haven't finished reading our quick start guide. So please go back to the quick start guide. Everything you need to know about the environment of the Equilist Analytics interface is already written in that document. If you have a question that I did not answer in the quick start guide, you have the private clients forum for you to ask. Okay? You can ask in pure Tagalog, Filipino English, or straight English. Just don't ask in Chinese. Okay? Alright. Now, let's move on to the next stock in the list. We have SSI. SSI closed on Tuesday at 3.26. The acting support is now at 3.12. Should it break below 3.12 again, the acting support will be 2.84. I know you're excited to ask or to know where is the psychological resistance. The psychological resistance, or not yet a psychological but still a historical resistance, is at 3.41. So SSI, I'm already seeing a perfect bullish alignment among the three SMAs of SSI. It means to say, it goes without saying that it's also moving above its 10 SMA and MACD is above the signal line. So our 10 SMA and MACD combo has been satisfied. SSI closed above its VWAP of 3. 20 last Tuesday. It also got a bullish volume from its volume histogram because yesterday's volume was higher than the 50% of the 10-day volume average. It would have been better if volume was equal, if not higher than its 10-day volume average. But let's be happy. Let's be satisfied with the volume that the SSI got yesterday. I'm also seeing on the DMI histogram, I'm seeing a strong upward momentum. It's in an uptrend channel with a strong upward momentum. So the DMI histogram together with the ADX confirm that or confirms that. Okay, so let's take a look at the trade and volume distribution chart for SSI. The most traded and most voluminous range for SSI. Let's see. It looks like it's evenly distributed, so it's quite challenging to find a dominant spot here. On the trade distribution chart, it's quite challenging to identify one. On the SSI, on the volume distribution chart, it's the same. But let's just take a look at the area that got the longest bars. So I think that this will be it. It's between 3.24 to 3.29. Okay, 3.24 to 3.29. Should the price breaks below this range, then watch out for this range here, 3.15 all the way to 3.05. Okay, nonetheless, the most dominant range that I saw on the trade and volume distribution charts of SSI is closer to the intraday high than the intraday low. My overall sentiment on SSI is bullish. If you have SSI, let's say you caught it near 2.09 or maybe near 2.41 or maybe below 2.84. It's either you hold your position or you add more shares. If you decide to add more shares again and again and again, don't buy at any price, buy within the most traded and most voluminous range. If you know how to do your own trade and volume distribution analysis like how I do it, then very good. If not, I can save your day by if only you will ask inside our private clients forum. Now, if you don't have SSI but you are planning to enter a new position on this stock, calculate your reward to risk ratio. If your happiness level is met, then you do a test buy within the most traded and most voluminous range. Same advice that I gave for those who have SSI. If you don't know how to do your trade and volume distribution analysis, I'm just a post away from our private clients forum. Next stock in the list, we have RRHI. RRHI closed on Tuesday at 73 pesos. It dove at 73 pesos per share. Needless to say, that's below its VWAP 74.02. Resistance is at 77.95. Support is at 71.26. There's also a bearish volume way above its 10-day volume average, meaning to say the traders of RRHI really saw a convincing reason to join the selling activity for this stock yesterday. Um, I also see here that MACD already registered a death cross below the signal line. So RRHI's candlestick, the last candlestick, is already moving below the 10 SMA and MACD is moving below the signal line. So our 10 SMA and MACD combo is not met. Okay. On the other hand, our RSI is drawing closer to its classical oversold level. So watch out for the support at 71.26 or 71.30. RRHI may treat that level as a rebound zone. How would you know if the descent in price is more likely to reverse? How would you know? Well, you would know if our four rule criteria are, or if our four rule criteria is present. And what are those four rules? Should be a green candlestick, VWAP. The last price should be above the VWAP. Volume should be higher than the 10-day, 50% of the 10-day volume average, and the most traded and most voluminous range should be closer to the intraday high than the intraday low. If all those four criteria are present, meaning to say the stock is poised for a rebound. If it has not rebounded yet, okay, if it has not bounced yet, rather. Okay, but for now, I'm seeing a strong downward momentum on RRHI based on its DMI and ADX. So watch out again for the support level near 71.26 or 71.2 to 71.30. Okay, let's take a look at the trade and volume distribution chart of RRHI. The most traded and most voluminous range for RRHI is between, okay, this level here, 73, 70, 72.9 to 73.1. 72.9 to 73.1. Should it rebound? Let's say RHI decided to rebound without waiting for it to touch the uh, support level. Should it rebound higher than, let's say, higher than 74 or maybe within the 74 to 75 level, then you should watch out for this range here. Range between 74.5 to 75. Okay. Nonetheless, right now the most dominant and most voluminous range is closer to the intraday low than the intraday high. I am bearish on RHI. I gave you my insights about the stock. Um, by now, all of you who, all of you should have um, hit their trailing stop loss already by now. I'm hoping. Okay. I'm when I say I'm hoping, not that I prayed for your trailing stop loss to be hit. What I'm basically saying is that I'm hoping that if your trailing stop loss was hit, I'm hoping that you're not holding your stock anymore. Okay, let it go. Okay, so that you can use that cash to recoup your or recover your losses by trading other stocks with a better potential than RRHI for short-term trading purposes. Okay, don't enter a new position just yet, please. I am bearish on RRHI. Now moving on, MRSGI. MRSGI officially broke below its uptrend channel yesterday as it broke below its previous support at 3.11, and that one is already acting as its current resistance. The new support is pegged near 2.53. We also see an obvious tall red candlestick that's way above its 10-day volume average. Foreign investors sold about 5 million pesos worth of shares. MACD, on the other hand, just continues its bearish descent below the signal line. MACD, FYI, MACD has been bearish on MRSGI since April 22 or April 23, 2019. Okay, now the DMI shows, well, obviously it confirms the downtrend channel for MRSGA or the downwards direction, but the downward momentum is not that strong yet. But I think if if MRSGI will register another red candlestick below the 2.9 level, we will see a confirmation of a strong downward momentum for MRSGI. So wait, before I give my overall sentiment, let's take a look at the trade and volume distribution charts of MRSGI first. The most traded and most voluminous range is between 2.97 to 3.11. So that's closer to the intraday low than the intraday high. Needless to say, my overall sentiment on MRSGI is bearish. If you have MRSGI, please be strict in executing your trailing stop loss once it's hit. If you don't have this stock, don't buy just yet. Wait for the dust to settle down. Wait for the appearance of those four rules that we are monitoring. If and only if they appear, that's the only time that it is logical to do a test buy. And where do you do a test buy? At any price? No, 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 no. You do a test buy within the most traded and most voluminous range. Again, if you don't know how to do your own trade and volume distribution analysis yet, post a request inside our private clients forum. Alright, moving on to the next stock, we have Security Bank. SECB closed on Tuesday at 175 pesos per share. Support is at 160.13 or 160.10. Resistance is at 184.6. And it already closed below its 10 SMA. MACD also registered a death cross, mean to say it crossed below the signal line already. VWAP is at 176.67. Needless to say, SECB closed below its VWAP. And also we're getting a bearish volume. Yesterday's volume was above its 10-day volume average. So meaning to say there was a strong appetite to sell down Security Bank yesterday. I'm also seeing a potential crossover between the positive DMI and the negative DMI. Okay, so there you go. I'm seeing well, before I drop my overall sentiment, let's take a look also at its trade and volume distribution chart. The most traded and most voluminous range. Let's see. It's between 177 to 175. 175 to 177. Should Security Bank decide to recover or to rebound, watch out for the range between 178 to 179. Nonetheless, the dominant range today is closer to, well, not today, but yesterday. It was closer to the intraday low than the intraday high. My overall sentiment on Security Bank in the short term is bearish. I advise that you wait for watch out for this intersection between the 50 SMA and 200-day SMA. It's near 172.5. If and when Security Bank breaks below 172.5, then you should it will be more likely for the price to retest the support at 160. But it's also possible, on the other hand, it's also possible for Security Bank to translate the intersection between these two SMAs at 172.5 as a rebounding zone. So watch out for this level also. That's the reason why I gave you the second range that is closer to the intraday high than intraday low a while back. I gave you two ranges, right? When I was discussing the trade and volume distribution charts, because I would like to consider this range here as a potential rebound zone for Security Bank. It's not guaranteed that Security Bank will rebound from 172.5, huh? Okay? So don't quote me on that. It's not a promise, it's not a guarantee. It's a probability. Okay? So if you don't have Security Bank, wait for the appearance of the four rules before you consider doing a test buy. If you have Security Bank, it would have been better if you considered locking in some profits near the resistance at 184.57 or whenever your trailing stop loss is hit. Okay. Now let's take a look at the next stock in the list. We have Aboitiz Power. So Aboitiz Power closed on Tuesday at 35 pesos per share. Support is at 33.75. Resistance is near 39.20. It closed below its VWAP of 35.5 yesterday, and it's already moving below its 10-day simple move. Not just the 10-day, but all of its moving averages. So on the daily chart, Aboitiz Power is already moving bearishly in the short term and also in the long term. In the short term scale, okay, in a short term scale. Now MACD also registered a death cross below the signal line. The price already moving below the 10 SMA and below the MACD, meaning to say it's already moving bearishly. The 10 SMA and MACD combo is not met. So here, we are also seeing a bearish volume. Yesterday's volume was higher than its 10-day volume average. The DMI is also showing it's just a confirmation that AP is in a downtrend channel, but the downward momentum is not that strong yet. Okay, the downward momentum is not that strong. I mean to say AP is moving, it's descending in a semi-relaxed, should I say, a semi-relaxed manner in an organic descent. It's not an erratic or abrupt descent in price. So let's take a look at the trade and volume distribution chart for Aboitiz Power. Okay, here, the most traded and most voluminous range is between 36 point between 35 to 36.3. 35 to 36.3. Still, it's closer to the intraday low. There's more trade and more volume registered closer to the intraday low than the intraday high. So my overall sentiment for AP is bearish. My advice for those who don't have AP but are planning to trade the name is to wait for a pullback near 33.75. If you have AP, you know the drill. Where is your trailing stop loss? Execute it once it's hit. Last stock in the list, we have food. Food closed on Tuesday at 0.77. Support is at 0.72. Resistance is at 0.86. It closed below its VWAP of 0.78. It also got a bearish volume that was higher than its 10-day volume average. MACD has been bearish on food, not just yesterday, but since April 17. I'm also seeing a confirmation of a strong, it's a strong downward momentum for food. FYI on that. Strong upward downward momentum. Okay. Nonetheless, RSI seems to be almost hitting its classical oversold level. So watch out for the support at 0.72. The price food may translate 0.72 as a potential rebound zone. Now let's take a look at the trade and volume distribution chart of food. The most traded and most voluminous range is between, well, actually it's evenly distributed. It looks like it's between 0.75 to 0.8. Okay, 0.75 to 0.8. So that's still closer to the intraday low than the intraday high. So my overall sentiment on food is bearish. My suggestion is that you wait for a pullback closer to 0.72. I hope that none of you have food by now, because it has been a downtrend channel since when? Since begin, the beginning of the year. So most probably all of your trailing stop losses, or your trailing stop loss, may have already been hit by now. 99%. Okay? So don't enter just yet. Just yet. Wait for a pullback near 0.72. So there you go. You've heard my technical analysis, overall sentiment, and recommendations or trade setups for these 10 stocks for today. I do hope I have been helping you to learn how to trade independently, decide independently, and execute profitably in the stock market. If you have follow-up questions, don't hesitate to ask inside our private clients forum. Again, my name is JC De Guzman, and have a great day.